Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. You're tuned in to Sajdah's Morning Coffee Talk. And today we're going to talk about dealing with criticism. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about what? Life, love, and business. How's everybody doing today? I hope you enjoyed the show last night. We talked about mathematical thinking and we got in a little technical, and I hope that was okay for everyone. Um, Today, I won't say it's going to be lighter, but it's going to be a little different. I want to talk about criticism. Criticism is something that is everywhere, it's all over the place. And this whole concept of criticizing and cancel culture, it is creating yet another trauma for a lot of people. You see a lot of celebrities going through a lot of trauma because of the excessive amount of criticism. Um, and a lot of times it's strategic communication on behalf of your competition that is masked as criticism just to get you to respond. I don't know how many of you all knew that. But, there are companies out here that you can pay to put negativity out there about someone or about a person. You have people that do it in industries. There's someone in a particular industry that I know that put a certain amount of propaganda out there about me, who's going to be getting a nice hefty lawsuit from me very soon. You'll hear more about that in the future. But the point of the matter is this happens all the time. And so we have to know where it's coming from. There's good criticism, right? Where somebody who loves you says, hey, maybe it would have been a better way to say this if you said it this way, or maybe you should have did that, or just kind of giving you some loving advice. But then there's strategic communication that oftentimes competitors put out there because they want to take away your customer base, whatever their goal is. Then there's sometimes where you go into an industry and maybe you don't do business with a particular person and you choose another vendor over them. And so then they go out and they spew negativity and propaganda about you. And this is it's interesting. It's a technique that's used now, but it's old school, right? Because it's been used since the beginning of time, especially, in this country. But what's different about it now, I think, than back in the day, when this technique was deployed, where you would, you literally would slander somebody, or they call it strategically communicate about somebody. Maybe you spread something about them that may be negative to potential employers or things like that. Back in the day, people wouldn't say anything. But nowadays, people will tell you. And every time in business, almost every time that I've been a victim of a strategic communication ploy, whether it was from a vendor that I chose. I may have put out RFPs before for construction, and the contractor who didn't get the bid spewed some negativity to make themselves look better because they had a problem over not being chosen. I've had situations where I've gone in to do business with somebody and I just didn't like the way they did business. And so I ended up going with somebody else. And then they started, putting negativity out into the market. And what people don't know is that that's illegal when you do that in business. And if I have any client where I tell them, and I know that, especially when big companies do it, file a lawsuit, or at least file enough of a suit that you can sting them and they can stop doing that to people. That's a big impediment for us as small business people because a lot of folks do that. It's a very, very common, very, very common, especially in certain industries. Um, and the reason why they call it strategic communication is because they just say it a certain way, right? Um, they don't just say it in a gossipy kind of way. It's just said in a certain way. Well, it's done a lot online and in pop culture and in the entertainment industry, where people are competitive and they're jealous of each other. They drop rumors out there into the internet world. They give a lie to the bloggers, and then it just spreads. And a lot of times, especially when you live your life in a very public way, it becomes difficult to figure out, how do I respond to this? And you don't even have to live your life in a public way to have experienced this. But a lot of times those emotions are displayed in public. Many of you have had it happen on a job where you reported somebody and then that person started spreading rumors about you. Or maybe you're the manager and you hired somebody and the person you didn't hire started spreading rumors about you. This is very common. And so a lot of people ask me, well, how do I deal with that? You know, what do I do? I had somebody who owns a restaurant, and one of their competitors started saying that they was using fake food, that they were no different from fast food companies out here melting plastic and selling it to you. And she was very upset. And I said, you have to push back on that kind of thing. And then the other piece of it is, then you have to create a strategic communication plan to let the public know, or at least the semi-public, the industry or whatever you're dealing with, to let them know that you've been a victim of this, so that they don't believe it. Because people tend to believe whatever they say. And once that person spews out that negativity and makes you seem risky and makes people lose confidence in you, it can affect your business. That's why these antitrust laws and things like that are very, very important. You see these people trying to affect the antitrust policy through our sister Kamala Harris, who's running for president. If I posted a few things on that, but these things are very, very important. And I will say this to you all as business leaders: if you bid on a contract, or you went out for business and that person decided not to go with you, or you couldn't get the job done for whatever reason, do not go out and slander them, because you're putting yourself at risk. While you're trying to pitch them as a risk, you're putting yourself at risk. Okay? Because if they're smart, and if they know the laws, and if you have any kind of job that you're doing where you have a fiduciary relationship to that client, then spreading their business and spreading negativity, or even just spreading your opinion unsolicited, is illegal. So you got to be very careful. That's why there's a clause on your insurance policy if you're in certain industries, where if you do that and you damage someone, they can win a claim against you. And 9 times out of 10, if you work for a state regulated profession, that state is going to ding you for doing that kind of stuff, because nowadays people talk. So don't think that, we get this a lot as Muslims, where especially other Black people will go to white people and say negative things about them. Well, that's the Nation of Islam. They're Muslims. They don't like white people. And then the white person that you're telling is laughing because they know they cool with you. And then they come back and tell you what this Black Negro has been saying about you, and give you everything you need for the basis for your lawsuit. Because they don't want, here's the other thing, they got a stake in the game. This is how stupid you are when you do it. They got a stake in the game, because I have a lot of white people I do business with, a lot of white people I'm cool with. couple white friends. If you start spreading rumors and making it look like I'm risky, you potentially make them look bad. And then in some cases, they really truly may care about you. Not a lot of times they're going to come back and be the one to tell. I can't say everything right now, but I cannot tell you how many situations have turned out negative for a person that's gone out there and ran their mouth because they're jealous. Listen, don't take our black on black crime out into the broader community, because somebody's going to call you on it. That cooning, that kind of stuff, you just can't get away with it anymore. People are a lot more woke today, and you never know who you're talking to. So don't judge somebody just because you look at their skin color or their ethnicity or their background, and you make an assumption based on propaganda that they think a certain way. And then you go run your mouth about your black brother or your black sister or your Hispanic brother or your Hispanic sister. And guess what they do? They're going to go tell their friend or the person that they're friendly with or in business with what you said. And when it's in a professional capacity, you're going to end up holding the short end of the stick. I've had it happen to me time and time again. I've been working on corporate projects where I remember working. I wasn't even working. I think I was a consultant. No, I was an independent contractor doing like a temporary position for a company one time. It was like a 6 or 7 month project. And there was another Black woman who worked there who I think thought that I wanted a permanent job, because oftentimes when they bring us in as consultants, they don't tell, you know what, good God, I know that a lot of times we like to put our own Cash App up there, but please don't come on my show and put your Cash App in my comments, especially when you know we're raising funds to support the platform. Get your own platform and then put your Cash App up there. I appreciate your support, but you can't just throw your Cash App out here in the comments. And you've done that before and I didn't say anything. I'm just going to say it to you now. Please don't do that. It's actually rude. So if I come on your platform, it's just etiquette. If you have a show, a blog, or a podcast, unless you ask me, I am not going to promote my stuff in your comments. Okay. I support tons of people. So I'm always supporting people. I'm always going on people's podcasts, giving positivity. Y'all know I'm always sharing businesses. So if you have a business or something that you'd like me to share, then send it to me. And I'm happy to talk about it, share it, maybe even feature you on the show. But don't do that in the comment, because that comments, that's a little rude, especially when you see that I got my Cash App up here. And it can look as if to people that you might be a moderator, and then they divert something to you that they really wanted to go to this platform. All right. So just a little housekeeping. All right. Where was I? So on this, a lot of times when companies bring in like a consultant or independent contractor on a temporary basis, they don't always communicate it to the rest of the corporation or the rest of the department. They'll just say, we got this person coming in. And this particular Black girl thought that I wanted the job that they actually asked me to sit in for a few months and then write up policies and improvements and a strategy on how they can fix the deliverables in the job so that the next person that got it, they could hope that they would make them more successful. So I didn't want the job. I wasn't there, but that's what she thought. And so she was going back to the people in leadership talking about me. Well, I don't know, she went so far as, oh yeah, well, she's a Muslim and she's with the Nation of Islam. That's the thing they always want to use as propaganda. But don't you know that is a blessing when you do that? Because we don't go in and just say, oh, hi, I'm a Black Muslim, or this is a Black Muslim business. We don't really do that. We go in and we give good services. But guess what? When you do that, now you do marketing for me. You let the people know, oh, she's going to come in, she's going to have a certain level of service, she's going to have a certain level of integrity, she's going to be very focused. You ain't got to worry about all this ratchetness with her. She ain't going to take no 2-hour lunches. There's a lot that you do to help us when you do that. Okay. So what she didn't know is that when she went to them, I was actually their client. I think maybe she thought I was like from a temp agency or something, and they were going to give the job to me. And I ended up going, I asked her to go for coffee. And I said, sis, I said, don't do this. You done went and told these good white people all this stuff about me that you thought was going to be negative. I said, but it's not. I'm their client, and this is what I'm here for. So what you can do is learn, because they actually are looking to find a replacement or somebody to put in this position. Clearly, they're not considering you because you've been working here for 6 years already. And by doing that kind of little backbiting stuff that maybe you see them do, it's not going to go good. It's not going to go well for you. So I wanted to say that because the perfect response. Tyler Perry has been all over the internet, doing stuff. Yeah, I hear you, brother, but not on this platform. Tyler Perry has been out in the public doing some responses to the criticism that he got over his last movie, Divorce in the Black. I'm not going to comment on the movie. It's not a movie review or nothing like that. But what I thought was so powerful was how he responded to the critics. And I want to play that for you. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because a lot of us, when we go through sort of some of what I'm describing here, we get thrown off our game. We go, I ain't going to say nothing. Let me be quiet. And some of us get so scared. I've had some of you all come to me and say, well, somebody was telling me that they knew somebody who was a multimillionaire and they wanted to really donate to some of the projects you have going on, but they got a problem with XYZ. And some of y'all mean well, right? And we go and encourage one another. Let's tone this down and let's dial this back. I'm gonna talk about it, but let me check y'all out in the chat. Happy Friday, Mom. I see you. Sister Betty, happy blessed Friday. I see you. Regional Sky Girl's in the house. She says on her way to the airport, but she'll be listening. Safe travels, my sister. Good God is in the building. Marvelous Marva says, Assalamu alaikum, and we say wa alaikum salam to her. Nana Kosei Adventure says, good morning, I appreciate you as well, and thank you for saying that. Nubia Latifa says, happy Friday to everyone. I appreciate your appearance and diplomacy. Thank you, Nana Kosei Adventures. Thank you even for recognizing that. I really, really do appreciate that. And good morning, Brother Lamont. He says, Assalamu alaikum, and we say, wa alaikum salam. Yeah, Sister Monica's in the house. I see her there. Monica Daniels Muhammad says, Assalamu alaikum. We say, wa alaikum salam. So somebody just talked about diplomacy, and I want to talk about diplomacy and decorum. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I just want you to listen to this. It's like 40 seconds of how Tyler Perry responded to these critics. Okay? Sister Monica says she en route to the Shy. All right. You coming for the training conferences? I know a lot of people's flights got crazy. And I wish you safe travels. Okay. But Tyler Perry did a good job, in my opinion, of the way he responded and gave us so much content to talk about. I got so much to say about this, because this is so appropriate, both in the broader community and in our little micro communities as well. And it's important that you figure out how to stick with the way that you feel most inspired to deal with a situation. But don't go anywhere. I'm going to play this real quick and I'll be right back. Okay.
But what? No, 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 no. You got to drown all of that out, because if you let somebody talk you out of a place that God has put you in, you are going to find yourself in hell. I know for a fact that what I'm doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because for everyone who is a critic, I have thousands of used to be emails from people saying, this changed my life. Oh my God, you know me. Oh my God, you saw me. How did you know this about my life, my family? So that is what is important to me. We're talking a large portion of my fans who are disenfranchised, who cannot get in the Volvo and go to therapy on the weekend. So you've got this highbrow Negro who is all up in the air with his nose up looking at everything. And then you got people like where I come from and me who are grinders, who really know what it's like, whose mothers and who were caregivers for white kids and were maids and housekeepers and all of these beauticians. That don't discount these people and say that their story don't matter. Who are you to be able to say which Black story is important or should be told? Get out here with that bullshit.
I just thought that was so okay. So now this person, good God, is cussing us out on here. He said, support me or y'all full of shit. So what we're going to do, dear brother, is we're going to block you, because we don't deal with that kind of language here on this show. This ain't that platform. Okay. If you got a product or service you want us to promote, you got a situation you want us to talk about and share, we're happy to do so. Anyway, and you see how the cursing, it just took the vibe away. But Tyler Perry, and I think that's we blocked him, Garland. We did. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, Mom, we blocked him. Now I got to go back and play. I should go back and play Tyler again. Just messed up our vibe. But anyway, what Tyler's talking about is people who come in and got something to say and make an attempt. And I've talked about this before, to negotiate you off of your post. See, some of the things that we forget about as Christians, as Muslims, and as AKAs, Deltas in this society is our own self-interest. See, it's like an illusion, right? We're taught to be like rugged individuals. But then we're not necessarily taught to pay attention to our self-interest. So it's like, this is my thought, this is what I want to do, but it's based on a thought that somebody put in our head, not our own self-interest. But we talk on this show about being authentic. And even our next chapter on the book, Mind of an Entrepreneur book, is about staying authentic. And I created a whole coaching brand about authenticity and being authentic to ourselves. And it's important. Why? Because when God has you on a specific path, something that you specifically are doing, and you feel it in your soul, it's the demographic that you are supposed to be talking to. You got to stay the course. I don't care how many people like it. I don't care how many people criticize you. Because when you find your niche, when you lock in to the people that God wants you to communicate with, the people that he's made you to communicate with, like Tyler Perry said, you can't allow yourself to be negotiated out of your position. You can't do it. And so that's the message that I want us to understand and hear about today, because a lot of us are struggling with that. And just the freedom from being worried about that criticism and just knowing that you're on the right path can give you the energy that you need to have the success that you need and attract everything you you need and want into your life. Soon as you let go of that criticism, and let me tell you, don't have nobody around you in your life and in your business that got a problem with you and how you do what you do. You ain't hurting nobody. And especially when you're trying to help people. And in his case, he's trying to get the message out. A lot of times his message is not for me. But I wouldn't go publicly and make a public criticism about it. I'll express my opinion to people I'm talking to, but I'm not going to do that to try to take the brother off his post, because I know what it's like, because people have done it to me. I can't tell you how many email and texts I get from people who were in corporate who say, "What, girl, what are you doing? Why would you combine spirituality with business?" A lot of it is because of my background and where I come from, and the educational background and the corporate background. They expected a certain professional trajectory. I'm saying it in a very diplomatic way, because I don't want to say names. And so they go, "But what are you doing?" And I said, wow. I even had a friend of mine, a guy, I want to call him a friend. He's somebody that I knew for a long time back in the day. He texted me a picture of Kamala Harris and said, "Man, I thought this was going to be you. I remember when we was in college, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, wow. Like, wow. I said, no. I said, that's not an aspiration. I'm not even a political person. I wouldn't even run for local government, but I'm not, that ain't even who I am. I think I'm political in that I have political skills, but I would never be in a position where politics was my whole thing. I am personally all about authenticity. So for me, that's not my authentic self. For my sister, that's her authentic self, I think. And so I support her in doing what she's doing with her authenticity. But I'm just using little things and how people nibble at you and try to get you to change. Whether it's how you dress, whether it's how you conduct yourself. And normally people got something to say when you're doing something of good. Because if I was running out here dressing and looking a certain way, and I was on the Tronics network and had a show on there, and to have a show on Tronics, you got to be ratchet, because our brother Ray J said he's the king of ratchetness. But if I was doing that, a lot of people probably wouldn't say anything to me, especially because there'd be millions of dollars generated and people could hang around and get some of the money. So they probably wouldn't say anything. But when you're doing a show and doing work like this, folks have something to say, because there's maybe not a lot that they can hang around and get. And when they hang around, they got to work. And as they begin to run out of oxygen, because it takes a lot of air and a lot of oxygen to do this kind of work, when they get ready to run out of oxygen, they'll leave you. I was going to Tyler Perry Plays. I can't think of the theater in New Orleans, if anybody is here from New Orleans, but it starts with an S. And my cousin and I, in the early 2000s, used to go to his plays. The tickets would be like $7, $10, and we would just go to laugh, because we were both in corporate, and I was down in New Orleans on a project that I'd been down there. It was a little stressful, and so we would just be like, "Girl, let's go to this play." And we would go to his plays and literally just laugh for 2 hours. That's why we went. A lot of them, I can't even tell you what they was about, because we just was laughing and we just wanted that stress relief. And I remember there wasn't a lot of people in the audience. And over time, it got more crowded. And you would hear about how he was struggling to do it, to put the platform together. And I'm sure he had a lot of naysayers then and a lot of naysayers now. But what I admire about him is that he stayed the course. He stayed his course. And he kept going with what it is that is important to him, his path that was important to him. And so that's my message for us today. Stay the course. Don't let somebody's criticism of you negotiate you out of your position, because guess what? A lot of people don't believe in this, but I believe in a divine calling, and I believe in a power greater than myself. I believe in Allah with all my heart. And if he put me on a path, and guess what? Well, let me finish that statement. If he put me on a path, then he's going to support me on the path as long as I stay on the path. And being on that path and aligning myself with who I need to be on that path is going to eventually generate a lot. And all the people who walked away, who ran out of oxygen, who was like, I ain't with it, I can't do this no more, are going to regret it. Just like I'm sure there's a lot of people who are probably jealous and hating on Tyler Perry because they walked away and ran out of oxygen when maybe he didn't have that much money. And he's like me. He likes to pay people generously for working with them and what they do. And that would be my thing. You may still criticize what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, but if you come, you're going to get benefits from it. If it's not all revenue right now, it's going to be some kind of like-kind exchange where I'm going to pour into you just because you're supporting what I'm doing. And 99% of the time, Allah backs me with that. And when I support that person and support that business, they come back to me a week later, sometimes 2 days later, sometimes a year later, and say, man, you will not believe what Allah did for me and my business. So you got to stay the course. Find your path and stay the course. And understand also, and probably a lot in Tyler Perry's case, there's probably a strategic communication plan that's being launched against him, because now the internet and these fake users and all of this stuff is used to make it seem as if a product or service isn't good. So just like I was telling you, a person in a particular industry did to me, because I didn't go with their services, they started spewing out there negative things about me. And so then that impacts other people who aren't willing to take a risk. And so what I think what's happening in Tyler Perry's case is there's probably a competitor who has people who have a reach, or using influencers to pay them so that they can put negative things out there about his movie. I went and watched the movie just so that I could see. And I don't think that they're telling the truth. Let me tell you, this propaganda is real. And it's real. So understand that oftentimes it's a machine that is just spewing information to get you and I to believe something about somebody. And then by the time the person responds and is able to come out and say, that ain't true, we already believed it. And we've already stopped buying the product, or we've already stopped watching the movie, or we've already stopped offering the service. We've already cut the person off and canceled them because of the propaganda that they spill, because they know that a lot of times we don't have our own minds. We don't have our own mindset, and we are relying on other people to think for us. Okay, we talked about that on the show. So this is what I say. When people do that, we have to start exposing them. See, part of what gives people their power is that they can stay hidden. But you got to expose them if you know them. And a lot of times you might end up in court, but you got enough money to fight it, Tyler. But if you know that there's people with this strategic communication and they're doing this against you, you know it's another big company, expose them. Because in my opinion, people need to be exposed for doing this kind of stuff so that they don't get to continue to do it to somebody else. When we stay quiet and we just start responding here and there and responding, and we think we're fighting it, we're really doing nothing but just doing their work for them. Because every time we fight it, the issue has to come up again. And then there's another person that goes, well, you know what? I believe it. That's what I heard. Then they put something else out. Well, my cousin who used to work down there in Atlanta said blah, 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 blah. For me, if I find out who you are and I find out that that's something that you're doing, I'm either going to charge you or sue you, or I'm going to put you out there for doing what it is that you do. But you got to expose them. We're too quiet nowadays and we're too scared. And I don't care even if it's a big machine, you got to say something. That's what I loved about Prince. Prince was like, I'm saying something. I'm writing slave on my face and I'm telling y'all what they're trying to do to me. A lot of times we're just too quiet, and we gotta stop whispering and letting abusers get away with abusing us. This is very common in our community. You talk to people, they say, oh, well, this happened to me growing up, or these people did this or that to me. I know myself, there's things that have happened that I haven't said anything about. But in order to heal, in order to prevent other people from going through what we're going through, we got to start speaking up. You got to start reporting people, and you got to start exposing them. All right. That's my comments today about criticism. That came to me really strongly this morning. Sister Monica says, yes, exposure will make them think 5 times. Let's hope. And if nothing else, it might get their license taken away. If nothing else, maybe they got insurance. Maybe you get some money off their insurance, but you got to start exposing people. And I'm telling you, nowadays, people will come back and tell you. That other person in business with you, that other employee with you, they will come back and tell you, and you can report it, but it's best that you expose it. Don't just go and hold it in and become a victim. Don't do it. Don't do it, family. Make sure that you expose them. Any other questions about dealing with criticism? Y'all know we got the financial trauma boot camp coming up. I'm working on some subject matter experts. Sister Regional Sky Girl said, I guess I'm out of the loop because I don't know of any new Tyler Perry movie or anything that's happening to him. Yeah, you might be a little bit out of the loop, Regional Sky Girl, but that's because you're always in those regional skies. But yeah, basically he had a new movie that came out and there was a lot of criticism about the movie, and he responded based on, you saw the response that I played on Kiki Palmer's podcast, and that response went viral. And I thought it was a perfect response. I thought it was beautiful. Anyway, so y'all know that we got the financial trauma boot camp coming up. I'm working on some subject matter experts to bring to the boot camp so that we can really dig in and heal. Once again, part of our biggest problem in our community is that the public propaganda makes us ashamed of whatever it is that we're going through. And so we don't talk about it. And sometimes just talking about something gives your nervous system a break and you can figure out a solution. Sometimes just talking about something will help somebody else. So we're going to talk about those hard, tough things in the financial trauma boot camp. And we're going to work on bringing some subject matter experts in to have those conversations about it. And guess what? If the subject matter experts don't come, you get just me. And hopefully you'll be okay with that. But no, we're working on bringing in some additional perspectives and conversations so that we can begin to talk about these things, because most of us, we just keep going and going and going, and we go to this event and that event, and there's all this unwritten and unsaid stuff and all this trauma that we're going through. We never deal with it. We never talk about it. And you know, some people are uncomfortable with getting a consultant. Some people are uncomfortable with getting a counselor. Some people are uncomfortable with getting a coach. Some people are uncomfortable with getting audited. Some people just don't want to do that. This is a way that you can begin to either get yourself to a place of comfort where you can get that additional help, or maybe enough conversation around it will help you to figure out what the impediments are that are causing this trauma in your life. But either way, the idea is to just raise our awareness around these events and these situations that cause financial trauma that then ultimately impact our ability to open our businesses, do for self, make money, be a salesperson, whole 9 yards. Okay, so I hope that you all will register. Hope that you come. Give a love offering if you enjoy the platform. Sorry we had to block some people that may have gotten offended by them cursing us out. But we are going to say, making sure that that is there. All right. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, support. You see it going across the bottom, the ways in which you can support the platform, the ways in which you can book me. If you want to book a coach or a consulting, the QR code is up here in the corner. If you want to come to the financial trauma workshop or boot camp, and then just make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that super chat. We need support, okay? We have to be deliberate about supporting one another. We can't just look and watch and hope that we're going to see the platform next week. We got a bad habit of that too. We got to put our money where our mouth is. That's another thing that I'm loving about Kamala Harris's campaign is the level of strategy and the way that people are coming together to support in an organized fashion. That is the way that we have to move on issues, smaller and bigger issues. That is how we have to move. So if you see a platform out here on YouTube, you see somebody out here with something that you like, they're saying something that you like, you tune in every week, support them. Because y'all, freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free. All right, family. Love you all. Tune in tomorrow morning. Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. We'll decide what we are going to talk about. I'll see what comes to me today. I got some meetings and stuff and a lot of things happening. So we'll see what that stirs up. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything that you want me to talk about, I'm happy to see if it fits in my vibrational space. All right. Peace and blessings. Don't forget to sign up for boot camp.